It is a story not just of a woman, but of an evolution, a quiet, graceful becoming. To understand the Princess of Wales, Catherine, one must look past the glittering tiaras and the perfectly tailored coats to the girl named Kate Middleton, born in Reading, England, in January of 1982. The hook for this journey, the moment that shifts the ordinary into the extraordinary, is not her wedding, but a quieter, almost accidental alignment of worlds at the University of St Andrews in Scotland. Imagine a bright, ambitious student studying art history, taking a gap year that included studying art in Florence and working on a boat, a true taste of the world before settling into academia. She was already preparing herself not for a crown, but for a life of purpose, engaging in charity work and showing a genuine interest in the world around her. It was there, in the halls of St Andrews, that her path irrevocably crossed with that of Prince William, then second in line to the throne. Their early connection was organic, built on shared classes and the easy camaraderie of youth. But for Catherine, this friendship carried an immense, unspoken weight. She was entering a sphere where every gesture, every glance would be magnified 1,000 times by the global press. Her beauty, often remarked upon, the luminous smile, the elegant posture, the classic features, was both an asset and a target. It made her instantly recognizable, an easy focus for the photographers who haunted the periphery of their lives. The early years of their courtship were a masterclass in strategic patience. The desire to protect their nascent relationship from the relentless, often intrusive glare of the media forced a period of carefully managed discretion. They were friends, then more, navigating the peculiar reality of dating a future king who was fiercely protective of their privacy. This period taught her a crucial, early lesson in the discipline required for her future role, the power of restraint. The transition from Miss Middleton to the Duchess of Cambridge and now the Princess of Wales was not a sudden leap, but a gradual immersion. The challenges began long before the Isle. Consider the intense scrutiny of her family background. While her parents, Michael and Carol, built a successful party supply business, achieving significant financial comfort, they did not come from the entrenched aristocracy of the established elite. This difference became a subtle, yet persistent, undercurrent of judgment. Early on, there were whispers, the implication that she was somehow less than, a narrative that often shadows those who marry into ancient institutions from outside. She handled this by simply being excellent in her new role, letting her diligence speak louder than any rumor. Then there was the infamous period of public pressure leading up to the engagement. She was, in the tabloids' eyes, a woman who had waited. The concept of weighty Katie was a particularly barbed challenge, designed to undermine her dignity by suggesting a lack of agency in her own courtship. Her response was dignified silence and continued self-improvement, a steadfast refusal to be defined by a timeline set by others. The wedding in 2011, a fairy tale spectacle viewed by billions, was both a glorious affirmation and an intense spotlight. Immediately the fashion narrative began. It was said to be enormously difficult for her in those early years, when public focus often centered on the cut of a dress or the color of a hat, rather than the significant charitable work she was eager to undertake. She was determined for her work, focused on early years development, mental health and the arts, to take precedence. She wanted to highlight issues, not outfits. This tension between aesthetic expectation and substantive duty is a lifelong challenge for royal women, and Kate navigated it by slowly, consistently, redirecting the conversation through the seriousness of her patronages. Her beauty, which captivates on camera, also presented an internal challenge. How does one make sure the world sees the substance when the surface is so immediately arresting? She began to use fashion strategically, a deliberate choice of a local designer on a state visit, or wearing a specific color to honor a host nation, turning the focus from mere style to diplomatic gesture. The greatest, most profound challenges, however, are the ones born in private while performing in public. Raising children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, under the constant watch of the world, is a pressure few can comprehend. She and William are noted for their intense focus on giving their children a degree of normalcy, deliberately shielding them, teaching them about the hierarchy of the monarchy, while striving to make the younger children feel as cherished as the heir. This is a constant, delicate balancing act, preparing a future king while ensuring the siblings do not feel relegated. Then came the unimaginable, the health crisis of 2024. The abdominal surgery, the ensuing silence, and the explosion of public speculation that followed were perhaps the greatest trials of her public life. In an age of instant information and unchecked rumor, the palace's need for privacy clashed violently with the public's hunger for knowledge. This period tested the very foundations of trust between the crown and the people. Her response, when she finally addressed the nation, revealed the true depth of her character. Standing before the camera, surrounded by nature, she shared her cancer diagnosis with profound vulnerability and immense courage. This was not the practiced formality of a royal briefing. It was a raw, personal disclosure delivered with an unshakable, quiet resolve. It was an act of reclaiming her own narrative from the speculation, forcing the world to see not a perfectly curated image, but a woman fighting for her health while upholding her duties. The challenges she faced were multifaceted: the pressure of tradition versus modernity, the scrutiny of beauty versus the demand for substance, the difficulty of private motherhood versus public scrutiny, and finally, the stark reality of a life-threatening illness under the highest possible visibility. Her trajectory is one of integration, weaving the threads of an ordinary middle-class upbringing with the extraordinary demands of royal life. Her beauty is not just in her face but in her resilience. Her strength is evident not in grand pronouncements, but in the consistent, devoted application to her work, even when that work has to pause for the fundamental need to heal. She is the modern princess who understands that the greatest connection with the people is forged not in flawless presentation, but in shared human experience, the struggle, the fight, and the quiet, determined return. Her story is a testament to grace under unrelenting pressure, a quiet narrative unfolding in the shadow of a very bright crown.